Recording. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the October meeting of the Montana Board of Housing. We will, this is our LIHTC meeting. Take comments. We would ask that those comments during the LIHTC portion be kept to 2 minutes, and then if in fact you have to, you're just simply agreeing, if you would say, I agree, so that we don't continue to go on and on and on. But we appreciate everyone being public input into these types of meetings. It's very important. So thank you very much for all attending. That having been said, Carol, announcements, please.
All right, so again, thank you for joining us for our October board meeting. For general announcements for those who are joining online as well as here in the room. For those online, please keep yourself muted unless you're providing public comment. You can mute and unmute using the little microphone feature in the lower left-hand corner of the Zoom call. For those that are joining by phone only, you will need to mute using your phone features, which is simply star to mute, unmute, star 9 to raise hand. As the chair mentioned, public comment will be accepted, both verbally here in the room as well as for those online. You can raise your hands. We have Logan Colberg and Joe DeFilippis who will be monitoring the individuals joining virtually to queue them up for comments when it's appropriate. For those here in the room, the audio is by these two little owl devices. They look a little like owls. They make nice little hoo-hoo sounds, but they are rather sensitive. So we will ask that while we're talking here in the room, we really can only have one person talking at a time. The owls are very sensitive and they'll move in the direction and pick up your voice. And it also projects the visual for those that are joining virtually. When we accept public comment, public commenters are welcome to come up to the podium. Or at least come up to the table. We prefer the podiums where the board members can see your faces, and also so the owl devices can pick up the audio better. And with those announcements, finally, if you're joining by conference call only, if you could please send your name, title, and company information to Logan Colberg. That's LOGAN.COLBERG @mt.gov. That way we can record that for the official meeting minutes. And for public comments, please state your name and spell your last name for the record and any organization affiliation that you may have. And with that, I'll turn it back to the chair for board member introductions.
Sheila, are you on? Sheila is on.
Sheila, can you hear us and please introduce yourself?
Yes, sorry, a little trouble finding the mute. Good morning, everyone. This is Sheila Rice, Great Falls.
Rachel?
Good morning. This is Rachel Arthur, Great Falls, and I'm not sure why my face is not showing.
Thank you very much. Okay, Richard.
Richard Miltonberger, Helena, Montana.
Jeanette.
Good morning and welcome, everybody.
Jeanette McKee, Hamilton, Montana.
Ryan Aiken, Missoula. Amber.
Amber Parish, Billings, Montana.
Bruce Posey, Chair, Billings. Thank you, Cheryl.
All right, we'll do some quick staff introductions. We'll introduce the folks here in the room. You can introduce yourselves, and then we'll have to read off the name of the staff members joining online. So I'm Sarah Cohen. I serve as Executive Director of the Board of Housing. I'll turn it to Vicki.
I'm Vicki Bauer, the Accounting Finance Manager for the Board of Housing. Jessica Michael, Home Membership Program Manager.
Nathan Billieu, serve as General Counsel for the Housing. Joe DeFilippis, Operations Manager.
Logan Colberg, Executive Assistant.
Jason Hanson, Multifamily Program Manager.
Joe, go ahead with the staff online.
You bet.
Brian Barnes, Multifamily. Bruce Brenstall, Multifamily. Charlie Brown, Homeownership. Bear with me, Danielle Bauer, Servicing, Mortgage Servicing, excuse me. There are a lot of people online, hold on a sec. Jesse Ennis, Multifamily. Julie Cope. Homeownership, Julie Flynn, Community Housing, Jules Engel, Community Housing, Kelly Caligula. Northlight family. That appears to be it. There is a guest online that's 1406 and the last three digits of the phone number is 015. Can you identify yourself? Getting nothing from them.
Okay, we'll go ahead and try that one later. So, we did have all of the attendees here in the room, sign up sheet, but if we could just kind of go across the room and speak loudly so that I will, pick you up, just your name and, affiliation.
Don Sturhan with CR Builders, based in Belton. On the abstract, comes development, mostly America.
Karen, should you taxpayer and resident of Anaconda, Montana?
Nellie Jo Nicholson is the taxpayer.
Gene Lure, GL Development, Helena, Montana. Logan Anderson, Slate Capital Partners of Chester.
Hey, Block, Slate Capital, Phillies.
Bill Leonard, CEO for Anaconda, New York.
They happening with the housing company, the item. Having violent with Homer and Zoom Montana.
Sam Oliver, Missoula Housing Committee. Hello, Mike Boucher with Boucher Development, Missoula.
Seth O'Connell, United Housing Partners, Helena. Tyson O'Connell, United Housing Partners, Missoula.
Catherine Daly, HRDC, and we've got Park County. Larry Phillips, New Works, Montana.
Spur Culture, Housing Solutions, Missoula. I like your Housing Solutions.
Thank you all for making the drive to Howard. We really appreciate you guys, coming to our meeting in person. And Joe, if you could, read off the names of members of the public and partners that have joined online.
You bet. We have Andrea Davis, Andrew Shanania, Andrew Simon, Angela Getchell, Angie Ferguson, Anita Sass, Austin Trunkle, Brady Ellis, Caleb Posey, Carl Hamming, Cassidy Kipp, Corey Hill, Crosby Branch, Emily Strasser, Eric Peterson, Eric Anderson, Evelyn Camp, Garrett Schultz, Grant Schnell, Jason Bowl, Joseph Walsh, Carissa Trujillo, Carl Berger, Lindsay Hale, Lisa Bowl, Liz Stotts, Luana Sledadal, Matt Fells, Michael O'Neill, Parker Webb, Rosaline Esclava, Ryan Jonerson, Susan Tebow, Tracy Menwez, Troy Hart, and again for the person using the phone, last three digits of 015 with a 406 prefix. Can you identify yourself? Wondering if I should just remove that or should I keep them on?
I think let's keep them on in case they're a member of the public for public comment. But if there's any way, maybe on a break, or when you can step out and check, you can't see the whole number.
Can't see the whole number.
Okay. Well, I don't wanna kick anybody out of the meeting, so.
Okay, that's it.
All right, and Chair, we'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you very much. Now is the time for public comment on any public matter that is not on this agenda, but is within the jurisdiction of this agency. Any comments relative to the 9% LIHTC will be taken there.
Morning, board and staff. I thought this would be the more appropriate place to give you guys an update on our LB Law School Garden project, not in the multifamily section. Wanted to let you guys know that after we got our allocation last year and our Department of Commerce award funds, we went out for equity right after the first of the year. Come to find out, when there's a regime change and a federal change, there might be some turmoil in the market. And so we did not get the equity responses that we wanted. And so we've been working pretty diligently on that over the last few months, but it has caused a delay in the project. So we're navigating the equity, getting very creative on that. We also took some steps on GC procurement. The state has allowed us to use a procurement method, our preferred method. The city is a little bit concerned about not doing the most qualified bidders, so we're navigating that. On a more positive note, last Monday, we were at city council and the city of Billings awarded us 1.5 million of the soft funds that we need for this project. So that's going to help with the equity conversations. And we've also been working closely reissuing our GC procurement, and we have a lot of interest for winter work. And so we're really excited about that. Just want to let you guys know, now that those two hurdles have come in, we intend on doing an updated implementation schedule for the 9% and refining the numbers and the structures and the 4%. We'll get that submitted in the next month to make sure that everything is clearly communicated. So I'm here to answer any questions on that. I just wanted to give you guys an update on where we were time-wise. And it should be on our quarterly reports. But again, as we talked yesterday, it's always good to come give you guys details for things. So.
Thank you. Any other public comments that are not part of the 9% LIHTC?
See, none, Chair Posey.
Hearing none, we'll move on. Move on to the minutes of September 8th, 2025. Board, you have these in your packets. Are there any board discussions and or questions regarding these minutes? Are there any public comments or questions regarding these minutes?
Seeing none, Chair Posey.
Thank you very much. I would ask for a motion and a second for approval of the minutes of September the 8th, 2025.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. The moved and seconded, all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Hi.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. At this point in time, due to the conflict, I will be leaving the meeting until such time as the LIHTC decisions have been made. Sheila Rice will in fact chair it from here. If there are technical difficulties, since Sheila is now in Japan and it is it's 12 hours later, so it's kind of late. She is now in Japan. If there are technical difficulties, Amber will then chair the meeting. I thank you all. If someone would text me when the LIHTC's over, I'll come back. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bruce, and thanks for getting the meeting started. So we'll move on to the multifamily program. That's Jason Hansen will be our coordinator of this, and we'll start out with the 2026 housing credit full applications. And Jason, if you would provide an overview of each project. Before we go there, so before I get you started, Jason, I just want to mention a few other things. I will provide opportunity for public comments after each project. As Bruce mentioned, we'd like to limit your public testimony to 2 minutes. Please, if you are agreeing with the person before you, just go ahead and say, I agree with this, or concur with prior comments, something to that effect. So the applicants are available to the board to answer any questions regarding their specific respective applications. The board might ask questions of applicants and discuss proposed projects, but there are no applicant presentations. Those have already been made. The applicants will have a brief opportunity to make comments and respond to any information about their application. And the board chair will allow for public comment at the end of all of the project overviews in case there's a public comment that is overarching and does not speak to a specific application. And then we will take a break before the board member voting begins. The board member voting will be in the following way. Each board member will identify, I will call on them, and they'll identify the top 3 applications in their mind, and then their top 2 applications, and we'll score those accordingly. Logan will do a live tally on those so we can follow those along. So with that, I'll turn it over to Jason.
Thank you, Chair Rice. Little background, the deadline for submittal of the 2026 housing credit full application was August 4th of this year. 8 applications are up for consideration. Applications are limited to $8.5 million. Available credits there is wrong. That got changed with the IRS to $35,300,000 as of now. We should have actually $39,500,000, but as of today, we're at $35,300,000 until the IRS updates it. Go back up here. The board must designate at least 10% of total credits. So for the credit ceiling for the applications, we have 7 nonprofits. So I think we'll be fine there for 7 of the 8. So we'll have a nonprofit. So I will skip the part about if we don't have it. Next page. Projects are grouped together, that the board packet that went out. So there's a board agenda memo, the staff spreadsheet notes that we're going to be going through, spreadsheet showing the project comparative information, the board member worksheet for their note taking, the developer past project and award completions, the demographics for the population, units in the last 10 years of 4 and 9% by county, and in the project packet, there's the summary cover page. Photos of the project, the narrative, the mini market study, or the market study summary, and the public support letters. So, and as we said, the nonprofits, we will have that, so we will skip that part again. Small rural applications, for purposes of this status, a small rural application. Spotlight is one that submitted tax credit application requesting credits in an amount up to, but no more than 12.5% of the state's available annual credit allocation. And small rural is anything outside the top 7 population centers. And we do have one up for consideration. The consideration of determined process at the board's May 13, 2025 meeting, the board considered letters of intent. 8 were submitted, 8 voted on to go to full application stage, and those were the 8 we're considering today. After your determination meeting, staff will provide the project application information to board members. Applicants should be available to the board to ask any questions regarding their applications. Board may ask questions and all applicants have discussed proposed projects, but there will be no applicant presentations. Board will provide an opportunity for public comments on proposed affordable communities and applications. The applicants shall have a brief opportunity to make comments and respond to any information presented regarding their applications. The full funding of applications. MBUH will not allocate more credits than necessary for the financial feasibility of the development and its viability, and will not award credits in an amount less than it deems necessary for these purposes. Therefore, if the board awards credits to an application, it will award the amount of credits determined by staff for the application based upon the applicant's requested amount. If the remaining amount of available credits is insufficient to fully fund an additional project, before awarding a project in an amount less than requested by the applicant, the board may consider and prioritize the remaining projects for an award for the remaining credits, make any remaining credits available in a future cycle, increase the amount of housing credits reserved for a previously awarded project based upon the project's application for an increase submitted under item 3, section K of the QAP, elect to award less than all available credits, elect to not award any credits, or adopt any other reasonable options permitted under this QAP. First priority project for an award will be allowed 30 days to resubmit its application, resize to the amount of credits remaining available. If the board determines that the development is financially feasible, it will enter into a reservation agreement. If the priority project fails to submit or is not feasible, the board will invite the next priority If all the authorized credits are awarded after a particular cycle, the board may place qualifying applications which did not receive an award on a waiting list for potential awards in the event credits become available at a later date, which it looks like this year, this will apply. Board will select applications to receive an award that it determines best to meet the most pressing affordable needs of low-income people in Montana, taking into consideration all the requirements, considerations, factors, limitations, development evaluation criteria, set asides, priorities, and data set forth in the QAP. We have development evaluation criteria. This all includes geographical distribution, the rural and urban locations, the overall income levels targeted by the projects, the need for affordable housing in the community, rehab or existing low-income housing stock, sustainable energy savings, financial and operational ability of the applicant to fund, past performance of the applicant, cost of construction, land and utilities, and the project is being developed in or near a historic downtown neighborhood. And number 3 would be the frequency of awards, preserving project rental assistance, and augmentation of sources of funds. If the board awards credits to an applicant where the award is not in keeping with the QAP, it will publish a written explanation that will be made available to the general public and pursuant to the section 42 of the IRS. And if all authorized credits and awards of a particular cycle, board may place qualifying applications which did not receive an award of tax credits on a waiting list for potential awards of housing credits in the event credits become available later. So next is the spreadsheet just of staff observations. There's 2 pages. And we've highlighted a few things just to point out. The first one being DCR, debt coverage ratios. We do have 3 projects that are over the recommended max. That would be Towers 9, Panther Pines, and Wildflower. Also wanted to point out on expense ratios that the Wildflower 9 is also the combined 1.94, higher than what we typically see of a 1.05 to a 1.1. The next page. Also on soft costs, we have 2 projects that were over the soft cost limits. Golden Line, they said they would be seeking a waiver for this, and Panther Pines, they said they would decrease the developer fees on that to get under the soft cost ratio max. Also wanted to point out on home and HTF, there's a lot of requests, and there's not enough in the buckets to fund all these projects. Probably want to find out, what the plans would be if they don't get home and HTF. And then also, one project had requested the $1.858 million in loans, and this will be a competitive process in the spring. So these funds aren't guaranteed, so they will actually affect some debt coverage ratios, expense ratios, and so forth if they don't get it. Next page. So we just want to go through and start each project, start with the cover page here, and then let the public comment and so forth. Okay.
So long as Chair Rice is good with that approach.
Chair Rice, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay. Did we start with the first project?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay. So the first project up is Golden Lion Manor. And this was one for project efficiency was over the soft cost thresholds. It is located in Lincoln County. There was nothing else pointed out by staff on this. So we taking public comment. Next then, Chair Rice.
Yes, thank you. Is there any public comment regarding the Golden Lion Manor and Tri application? Is there any public comment?
Seeing none, Chair Rice.
We'll move on to the board then. Does the board have any questions of the applicants? I would ask this question of the applicant because of the soft cost threshold. That your application includes then a request for a waiver of the soft cost of 40%?
Yes, this is Lindsay with American Covenant. We are requesting a waiver.
Lindsay, can you help us understand why the soft costs are higher?
The soft costs are higher because of the number of units we feel. We still have architectural fees and all of the closing fees similar to the larger projects. But the soft costs are kind of skewed due to the number of units that we have.
This is Susan Tebolt. I'm with Lindsay at American Covenant. Your soft costs are fixed, so we have a lower number of units to spread that cost over, which then drives our ratio up. So unless you can go to the lawyers and tell them to reduce their costs, we're stuck.
Thank you for your comments, and I'm sure that you've tried your best to get those down. Are there any other questions from board members to the applicant?
Seeing none, Chair Rising.
Okay. As applicants, you have the opportunity to make comments and respond to any information presented regarding your application. Any comments from the applicant? All right, thank you very much for applying and for all of the work that you've gone through to try to get this project through. Let's move on to the next project, which is Towers 9 in Billings.
Okay, Towers 9, get there. So, yeah, located in Billings, this is a 9-floor project. So we just, under developer performance, just noted that the 4% application for LA lost last year. That was awarded, has not been submitted. Developer stated that the LOI presentation, that pricing to take place with and if Towers is awarded today as well. And that was the only thing we noted on it.
Okay, we might mention here that should any of the 4 9s be awarded, those 9s awards would be contingent on the application for a 4%. That would be part of the motion when we get to that point. Are there any public comments on Towers 9 in Billings? Public comments?
Seeing none, Chair Rising.
Does the board have any comments on Tower 9? Any comments or questions from the board?
Seeing none, Chair Rising.
All right, let's go on to, and thank you very much for your help, Joe. It's really helpful because I can't see hardly anybody from here, so thank you. Okay, let's go on to.
Provide an opportunity for the applicant to respond to any of the information presented.
Thank you. So we'll ask Tower 9's applicant if they have any comments regarding the information presented.
Yes, we have several.
Good morning, again, Heather McFarland, MCMILIN with Homeward, and Towers 9. I wanted to make sure that I touched on some updates between the last time we presented to you on this project, and today. And yes, I did respond a little bit to one of the comments in the packet at your testimony, so apologies for that. Wanted to let you know that once we had once we've been invited to apply, we had, the next week closed our Creekside project in Missoula. Towers is templated on that, format and those models. We, housing staff know how long Creekside took to restructure, close, and work out all the details when it came to tax opinions and some things that came up late in the day. And I talk about that because we closed Creekside and we're already finishing our 9% right now on Creekside, which we knew would be fast, but we're really pleased with the progress there. The reason I'm telling you that is that after we presented and said we would put those changes into play, there were a few more changes, and all of those pieces were laced into our 9% application to you all, so the details should be in the application. But what we did find is that, point out, we did refine our 9% request. You can probably see that in the presentation, and then also Creekside documents, equity, and all of those pieces. We have confirmed that we can basically reuse that, and so we're able to drop some of our soft costs, and we can apply it to towers. There'll still be soft costs in those pieces, but we're really confident that this structure, especially with the QCT and the boost, and using acquisition values for towers, now is a great time for this project, and we can be really efficient. And we feel comfortable with our timeline in this application. Also, the federal change of the 25% test on the 4% that came through will also be very helpful on this project, because we're recycling existing debt that we did on Creekside, and now we know exactly how to do that. So we're really looking for efficiencies here, really excited about it. And we will be able to submit our 4% application, because we did submit a housing trust fund application, which is included on the 4% side of this project. We will wait to see if there is a potential contingent award if we're submitting that, but that will be in line with that housing trust fund application, where it's not shown in the 9% application. The 4% portion of this project will have 30% AMI units associated with potential housing trust fund award. What we like to try to do is be very careful about over restricting properties. We have an existing population, and the more funds we get and the more layers we put on, it makes it complicated. And so we wanted to do light touch. So in the tax credit world, we'll keep it at a very high AMI percentage, but with those housing trust funds, we'll have some designated units associated there. But all the residents there have rental assistance and are of lower income. We just didn't want to overburden the restrictions and compliance components of that. So I'm available for any questions. Just wanted to make sure you guys knew where we landed on an application time. I can answer any questions at this point.
Are there any board questions for the applicant?
Thank you.
Seeing you.
Thank you. There being no board questions, we'll move on to Granite Peak and Butte.
Thank you, Chair Rice. So Granite Peak Apartments in Butte. Let's see. Hang on here. Actually, we have nothing to add further than what we had on the spreadsheet, so we're good for public comment.
Is there any public comment on Granite Peak and Butte? Any public comment?
Seeing none, Chair Rice.
Seeing none, does the board have any questions of the applicants?
Seeing none again, Chair Rice.
We'll give the applicant then a brief opportunity to make comments and respond to the information presented.
My youngest daughter just got back from Japan. That's nice. She enjoyed it. I hope you are as well. The question came up on
Please state your name and spell your last name for the record. Thanks.
I'll answer that, Thomas. No. The staff's comments relative to the subordinate debt, home HTF. Kind of a chicken and an egg thing in our business, and goodness knows we have lots of sources of investment that are needed to do these deals work, and you kind of have to start somewhere. and somewhere depends on the deal. We also have, which is not only for, we have an application at bank. In mining other sources, if the MBOH loan doesn't fund the relationship we have with another bank, should give us about the same interest rate, so clearly, a 9% loan will be subject to full financial feasibility, and that's kind of what this business works, and we're comfortable moving forward and based on success rate and securing those funds. Fill out the capital stack, must pay for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions of the board, of the applicant following their brief presentation? Questions from the board?
Seeing none, Chair Rice.
Let's move on to the outpost in Kalispell.
Thank you, Chair Rice. Outpost in Kalispell. You see the information up there. We actually have nothing else to add other than what's up on the screen.
Is there any public comment regarding the outpost in Kalispell?
Seeing none, Chair Rice.
Okay.
I
That's
would like to
I
speak if
think we-
possible.
We
Hold on
have
one
go ahead.
I'm sorry. My name is Cassidy Kipp. I'm with Community Action Partnership, and we're partnering on this project with the Outpost. And I just want to speak on behalf of the need. We've been a housing provider in Northwest Montana since 1976. Our headquarters are here in Kalispell. We're the quickest growing micropolitan in the United States as of the last census. So I know that the need for affordable housing and targeted housing is very strong throughout the state. However, I can just speak to how uniquely powerful our demand is right now. This project is really well designed and well thought out in terms of location and the targeted community for it to serve. So I just, again, I'm very supportive of it. We really would love to see this be added to the portfolio in our community. We operate as a field agency with Section 8, and what we are seeing is underutilization of a lot of our vouchers just because there aren't the units that would qualify for that type of assistance or compatibility. So we are just hopeful to be able to increase the inventory and excited for this opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Kipp. Is there any other comments, public comments regarding the outpost in Kalispell? Does the board have any? Does the board have any questions following the public comment? Let's move on to the applicant. So would the applicant like to do a brief opportunity to make comments?
No comments from us. Thank you.
Once again, any comments from the board? Questions from the board? There being none, let's move on to the Saddlehorn in Miles City.
Right, Saddlehorn Apartments in Miles City. I wanted to make one note at LOI stage. They had submitted 28 units, and at full application, they have up to 30 units.
Is there any public comment regarding the Saddlehorn application in Miles City? Any public comment?
Seeing none, Chair Rice.
Does the board have any questions for the applicant? We'd ask the applicant to present a brief, to take the opportunity to make a brief comment and respond to any information.
Thank you, Chair Rice. My name is Don Skirhan from CR Brothers, the co-developer and sponsor of Saddlehorn Apartments in Miles City. And being respectful of the rules, we've already given a presentation, so this is our opportunity for updates. As Jason Hansen already indicated, we have a couple of quick updates. One is that actually based on the input and feedback we got from this board, back at the May presentation, but on the question of what density. At that time, we had 28 units. And the question was, hey, is there any way you could do more density? So we took it back to the drawing boards and we did in fact find a way to do that. So we now have 30 units rather than 28. Doesn't sound like a lot, but in this business with these metrics, we feel pretty good about it. At the same time, we were able, so what that did is it also gave us the ability to drop our cost per unit down about $2,000. So in the process, we actually saved on a cost per unit basis. We were able to maintain those metrics like average affordability, 47.6%, soft costs at 29.6%. It felt like it was a good step forward in the efficiency of selling on properties. The other update that I advise you of is the time of our presentation in May. The land was located in the county when we were indicating that we would be applying for annexation into the city. That annexation has now been complete, and we have the proper zoning in place. So in terms of our readiness to proceed, we feel very good about the situation in the city. We don't have anyone scheduled for public comment today, but nevertheless, we were heartened by the numerous letters of support that we received and are included in the application. Thank you.
Are there any questions from the board following the applicant's presentation? Any questions from the board?
Seeing none, Chair Rice.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to Pintler Pines in Anaconda.
Pintler Pines and Anaconda, we have nothing to point out, no substantial changes since LOI, so nothing further than what we pointed out in the spreadsheet.
Is there any public comment regarding Anaconda, Pintler Pines?
Yes.
Joe, do you want to just go ahead and call on people?
Yes, I've got one up here right now. She's.
And if you would remember to please state your name and if you're with an organization, what that organization is.
Thank you. I'm Karen Shaleen, that's SCHELLIN. I'm a resident and taxpayer in Anaconda, Montana. And I've collected a letter here signed by 50 members of the community. I collected this in about just a few hours, less than 4. Stating concerns, and they were all anxious to sign this. I don't know how many signatures I would get if I went for a week or 2 weeks, whatever. I'll read this in part and add a little bit, and we'll accept questions after. We write this as residents and taxpayers of Anaconda, Deer Lodge County. We are not taking a stance on the virtues of the Pintler Pines project. Our concern is related to the underlying requirement in the current plan, both donate the land and demolish the vacant Dwyer School in Anaconda to make way for the project. We are not convinced the process for considering this part of the project has been adequately transparent for the taxpayers. While there may have been the required public meetings during the past summer, the publicity made it seem as though the project had already been decided on and committed to prior to the public involvement. We also believe there are other suitable locations where the project could be located in Anaconda. As such, we request that the Pintler Pines project be set aside by the board for a short period of time while a more rigorous public process can be undertaken. We recognize this is outside the scope of the criteria the board normally considers at this point. However, it also seems the board may be concerned if there is significant local extent to the project that we can make. We have to put questions. Again, I collected 50 signatures in just a few hours personally by myself. Many are neighbors of the Dwyer School, but it's a whole cross section of the entire community. Questions?
2 minutes. Yep, thank you.
We still have Ms. Rice.
Yes.
Yes, continue. Do we have any other public comment?
Seeing and hearing none, Chair Rice.
Does the board have any questions of the applicant?
Seeing none, Chair Rice.
Let's move on to then the applicant's brief opportunity to make comments and respond to any information presented.
Good morning, Tiffany Happy with the housing company. A few updates since our presentation in May. We applied for the county RFP and was awarded the school land for our project. After that, we had 4 public hearings for a zoning map amendment and then a special use permit. In those 4 meetings, the planning committee and board of commissioners approved those unanimously. I'll take a second and address the high debt coverage ratio. We trend downward and our lender required 1.2 through the entire 15 years. So with the trend downward, we needed to start a little bit higher. Any questions?
Does the board have any question of the applicant?
Seeing none.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on to the Wildflowers 9 in Missoula.
Wildflower Apartments located in Missoula. No substantial changes since the LOI. I mean, nothing to point out other than what we went through in the spreadsheet.
Is there any public comment regarding Wildflower 9 in Missoula? Any public comment?
Seeing none, Chair Rice.
Does the board have any questions of the applicant?
I have a question. Could the applicant comment on the debt coverage ratio that I believe is higher than the QAP standards?
Yeah, I see Andrea's on the phone. Who from Homeward would like to respond to Ryan's question?
Sure, it's Tyson, that's coming up from United Housing Partners.
Andrea, you're on deck.
Thank you, Chair. Andrew Davis is gonna provide public comment as the mayor. And I'm Tyson O'Connell with United Housing Partners, and I'm glad you brought this up, actually. We started this project 3 years ago because Missoula Housing Authority came to United Housing Partners and Shade Development for our expertise in executing complex acquisition rehabs of LIHTC projects. We thought we would do a straight 4% 3 years ago and quickly realized that was infeasible. So we brought the project in as a twin 9% and 4% project after 3 years of seasoning. Get the loss to lease back to where we needed it. Once we started analyzing it, you have to look at every lever on a 9-4% deal. In this case, Missoula Housing Authority had $7 million of equity in this project. Instead of selling the project on the open market like almost any other owner would do, because they own this project, they agreed to take $7 million seller notes at 0% interest to make this project happen. If you added those $7 million notes at 2% interest, but if they did want 2% interest on it, it would lower our debt coverage ratio to 1.13 and our expense ratio to 1.0. If we went out and tried to get a market rate loan for that 7.5% or $7.5 million, it would be 5 or 6%. The debt service coverage ratio would be well under 1.1 project. So the only way this project happens is by having an owner that is willing to forego $7 million of equity, put it into the project as a seller note, which we get LIHTC equity on, and be willing to take that and paid out over 40 years at the end of the term. Thank you. Any other questions?
Any other questions from the board? Does the applicant have any other comments that they want to make? I think we have Andrea somewhere out there wanting to make a comment.
Chairwoman Rice, can you hear me?
I can.
Hi, everybody. My apologies. Sometimes I have a hard time finding the raise your hand icon on Zoom. Good. Good morning, everyone. Hi, this is Andrea Davis. Serve as the mayor here in Missoula, Montana, and I wanted to speak in favor of this project and this project team. Wildflower Apartments, as you've seen in the presentations, are suffering from just a long time of use and need for significant investment. The creative financing that this team has put together, and Tyson just articulated well, is what's going to make it possible. As you know, this project has expired in its tax credits, and it's vulnerable to go to market rate should there not be another financing mechanism put in place that secures affordable rents into the future. For Missoula, we've been working hard to address our affordable housing issues, and we continue to do that. I think you can see that in that currently the market study says we have around a 3% vacancy rate. That's excellent, and yet we still have a lot of people that are struggling to afford rent here. The housing authority's ability to have a houselessness preference in their admission preferences, I believe, is something that's really helpful for us. At the city, we've had to make a really hard decision in that we had to close a temporary homeless shelter because we ran out of federal dollars. And we've leaned into a housing sprint model where we're working with the private sector to help those that are living with houselessness find housing as soon as possible by helping them clear barriers, and partners like the Housing Authority, where they have a homelessness preference for their admission, is really helpful for us. So I can't speak highly enough to the team, but also just the project need itself. Providing affordable housing and maintaining and preserving good affordable housing is really essential for our communities. And I thank you all for this opportunity to speak, and also thank you all for your consideration and your time with the Board of Housing. These are hard decisions. These are great projects. The need is great all over the state, and just thank you for your consideration of this project.
Thank you. So we'll put Mayor Davis under public comment, but we didn't really call on her in order. That's okay. Does the board have any questions of the applicant? Does the applicant have, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Seeing none.
Okay, thank you. Does the applicant have any further comments to make?
Yeah, no, Chair Rice. No further comments.
Okay. If I'm hearing that right, there's no more comments. Okay. All right. The board have any questions? If not, we'll go on to Sheep Mountain in Livingston.
Sheep Mountain Livingston is a 9-4 project, and there was no substantial changes since LOI stage, and so no further comments.
Are there any public comments regarding Sheep Mountain and Livingston?
Yes, one moment.
Morning, board. Thank you so much for the opportunity to provide comment on this project. My name is Catherine Daly. That's Delta ALY. I'm here with HRDC 9, which is based in Bozeman, but I work exclusively in Park County as the Park County Housing Solution Program Manager. HRDC is the nonprofit partner on this project to Boundary Development. And we have been working hard with Boundary for the past several months on the entitlements process. We have completed that process now. The city of Livingston unanimously approved our request for a planned unit development, which gives us the opportunity to get one-to-one water and sewer impact fee waivers for each home that we're bringing to market with this development. We heard a lot of really positive public comment during the 4 meetings that were required as part of this process. Many of those comments are included in your packet. At the LOI meeting, you of course heard public comment from City Manager Grant Pager supporting this project. And you have also received in your packet public comments around Montana State University Extension, LiveWell 49, which is our local health and wellness organization, which is chiming in because this project is within 1.5 miles of our new wellness center. And from members of the community, like Pastor Melissa Johansson, who lives in the adjacent neighborhood to where this project will be built, if tax credits are awarded. I've continued to hear lots of positive comments and interest in this project in the intervening months. Our local paper has been eagerly covering this project, and we're here to answer any questions.
Are there any questions for the applicant? Any board questions for the applicant? I'm sorry, I should have asked for further public comment. Is there any additional public comment? Is there any board questions for the applicant? Would the applicant like to have a brief opportunity to make comments and respond to any information presented? Does the applicant wish to speak?
Hi, this is Joe Walsh with Boundary Development. Catherine is part of the applicant team and covered everything we wanted to say. So thank you.
Thank you. One last call. Any board questions for the developer? All right, I think we have exhausted all of the applications. I would ask now if there's any public comment at the end of these project overviews that is more overarching and not specific to a particular application. So is there any comments about the tax credit awards, but not regarding a specific application where you've already had an opportunity?
Chair Rice, we do actually have somebody on the phone that wasn't able to get unmuted, I guess, if for Pentler Pines, if we could go back to that quick.
That would be fine. So this is Pentler Pines? Okay,
Correct.
so we'll take additional public comment due to technical difficulties on Pentler Pines. Go ahead, please.
We're working on it, Chair Rice.
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello. All right. Yeah, my name's Cameron Moylan. In fact, I know I'm not the only one calling in to comment on this item on the Pentler Pines or this proposal from the housing company. This proposal has been it's just been a complete, really embarrassment to see how it's gone through the system to this point. And so I am calling in because you guys are the last shot really to put an end to it. It's in every way, everything about it is wrong. I develop properties myself. I renovate mostly buildings into large apartment complexes myself. So I have some idea about what it takes to do these large developments. And this particular one is just basically what they're proposing to do is to take the money that you're considering sending them and use it to destroy one of Anaconda's best buildings, which is Dwyer School, and one of Anaconda's most valuable buildings. It actually is the newest school in Anaconda with conservative replacement value
of that building of over $35 million, and that is a conservative estimate. It's an excellent building. It's also fairly recently upgraded building, has had a lot of tax money already put into it to the tune of several $1 million between 2005 and 2014 in improvements like new boilers, new roof, a lot of new drainage lines, and it's just a fantastic building. It's begging to be converted into something good, and it could be turned into over 16 apartments for under $500,000. I mean, I will stand by that estimate to the end because I know it can be done. We've done it for less on lesser buildings. So this building is just, it's begging to be turned into affordable housing. In fact, they could fit their newer units that they're planning on putting right adjacent to it too. There's really no reason to have one or the other, but to ask the state for the maximum amount allowable, which is 8.5 million, while it could be done for less, significantly less, under $1 million, to get the same result is just disgusting to me. And it is your board's duty to say no to this. I would also add just that it's very important to note that there are several other reputable developers who have made offers on this property, and I'm actually not one of them. I've kept tabs on these things because I'm interested in them, but they've done well on other projects, and they're offering the city more money. The housing company is asking that the Dwyer School be given to them for free, an out-of-state company, while there's in-state companies who are wanting to buy it and renovate it into something good. In one case, 16 apartments, and they're willing to do it with no taxpayer money. So this $8.5 million could go towards something good instead of causing great harm to Anaconda. So I would just point out once again that it is your duty to vote no to this. I know you've been made aware of this, and I'd ask too that you allow the other people waiting on the line to comment as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm again going to ask the public comments, please stay under 2 minutes. So go ahead, Joe, and call on the next public comment, please.
Yes, does last 3 digits 015 wish to comment? There are 3 callers on the line. If you wish to unmute yourself.
This is Ryan Jonerson.
Go ahead, Ryan.
I would agree with what Cam said, and I would also add one of the valuable assets of that Dwyer School is the gymnasium itself, and Anaconda doesn't need less gyms, they need more gyms, and it could be easily utilized within a short amount of time to get kids back into that gym and also have other community events in it. So in agreement of what was just said, there is also other benefits that the existing building and school and gym would have. And that's my comment.
Thank you. Further comments from the public?
We got one more coming up, Chair Rice.
Thank you, Chairman Rice, board members. My name is Bill Everett. I'm the CEO for Anaconda New Lodge County. Held this position, I guess, 9 years now. Very proud of the success that Anaconda shared the last 9 years, and been a lot of great things growing this project being part of it. We put out 3 RFPs over the last 6 years on this building, which we purchased from the school district for $160,000. The reason being the county purchased this is we were scared of building like this in our own plans causes flooding. It's an issue we've shared in Anaconda as well as with you. One other building that was purchased before we were cognizant of it, unfortunately, has turned into a huge obstacle for our community. We purchased this building with the intent of, number one, for light for that neighborhood. It's one of our best neighborhoods, and this is beautiful. Below it is an old established neighborhood. Above is a new developed neighborhood. Through our last RFP, the only applicant we had
was the housing project, which we were very excited to receive. Since I've done this for quite some time, I cannot think of maybe a handful of times where the commission unanimously approved this project. Extremely excited about it. Now, can I say that every person in our community is for it? No, it doesn't work like that way, especially in that county. But 5-0 vote, I'm very happy. We've had multiple votes. One is on the development permit and another being on the zoning change, as well as on actually the acceptance of the sale of the land to the housing project. So very excited about this. It would create 23 units for our seniors. That's affordable, well needed. At the same time, we're very hopeful that it will also free up some other housing within the community as there's the migration of some of our seniors moving to this facility. There's so many obstacles with the current school. I don't want to get into that, but I can promise you we've had 4 public hearings. We vetted it very well through our community. Very proud of what they've been able to put together for you today, and appreciate and hope you will consider our project. Thank you.
I have 2 minutes.
Is there further public comment?
Online, I'm seeing 3 numbers. Go ahead.
Joe, was that a go ahead for the numbers, so for someone to testify?
Yes, there was 4 phone numbers on here, but I'm not seeing them unmuting. So I think that's it.
For those joining on the phone, sometimes you may need to use your phone features such as a *9 to mute and unmute. So if you haven't tried that, please give that a go and see if that we're able to unmute and mute on our end. But if you don't have that on your phone, we can't undo it on our side.
Go ahead, 169 for the last 3 digits. I've asked to unmute, see if they do. They just
So
fell
again,
off.
if any of the callers want to speak, if they would unmute their phone by pressing *9 on their keys.
Yes, 169, if you press *9, is that what it is?
Yes, typically on a phone, it could be to toggle mute or unmute. Oh, I'm sorry, *6. Try *6.
Yes, try *6. There we go.
Yeah.
That worked. My name is Lisa Bowell, Bowell, and I am speaking out against the housing company. They're an out-of-state entity, and they have properties all over Idaho in every region that they have developed for different purposes, and they also have one in Dillon, Montana. I think that we should not give out-of-state our state monies to an out-of-state company who's in that business to develop multiple entities for housing. And the Dwyer School is in excellent shape, minus a few things that vandals have done to it that can be easily repaired. And from my knowledge, the gym was being utilized by Mr. Bill Hill up until the government, the local government, shut the utilities off, and he was bringing sports events into Anaconda and bringing revenue in there. And I think the monies, if they are needed by a local, meaning Montanan company, to repurpose this building, not tear it down, would be a much more viable option. And people have not been aware of what's been going on. I have gotten a lot of info from people, callbacks and Facebook texts that they were not aware of everything. The government has not been totally transparent about a lot of this. So that's been an issue also. So I say save the school.
Thank you. We appreciate you taking the time to comment today. Are there any other public comments? Again, if you're on the phone and you want to comment, please dial *6 on your telephone keypad, and then you'll be unmuted and can testify.
Here, Rice, I believe that's it. Oh, wait, there was one more.
Go ahead.
I believe that was
That was the same one. We're good. They raised their
Okay.
hand on those. Yeah, so we're good.
Okay. All right. I think because we've had public testimony, I want to kind of cycle through this again. Does the applicant have any comments that they would like to make on the information presented? Any additional comments from the applicant?
Don't believe so, but we have to answer any questions if you go to.
Okay. Well, that's timely because the next portion is for the board to ask any questions. Does the board have any questions on the Tintler Pines and Anaconda to ask the applicant?
See none, Chair Rice.
Okay, I think that concludes our public comment regarding specific applications. Is there any public comment that is more overarching and does not speak to a specific application or a particular application? Any general public comment? All right, we'll take a break. It is, I don't know what time it is there, but it's 44 minutes after, so why don't we reconvene at the top of the hour? 15 minutes?
Thank you, Chair Rice.
We'll get going again in just a minute. If folks do have their phones, if they can make sure they're silenced, or if you need to take a call, please step outside the duration of the meeting. And Chair Rice will get us started in just 1 minute.
There we go.
Joe, I just received a message that said we were about ready to start. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, great, great. Okay, well, good, because I'm about ready to start too. All right. We're going to move on now to what we call the live voting section of the agenda. And what that means is that each board member will present their top 3 applicants and then their top 2 applicants. So the top 3 applicants will receive 3 points each and the top 2 applicants will receive 2 points each. And then we'll wait a second minute to tally those. And then we'll decide what we need to do next. We may have some ties and we may have to do some revoting. So anything that you wanted to add, Cheryl or Jason?
Madam Chair, before we call on board members for their vote, we did want to walk through just a high-level conversation on a few kind of broad categories about projects as a board, if that is permissible, similar to how we had that high-level categorization chat before the voting took place last year.
I think that's fine. Let's go ahead.
Okay, Jason?
Thanks, Chair Rice. So last year, we just had a board discussion, so developers can kind of hear and understand what board members are liking on certain thresholds and so forth. So the first one would be on income levels targeted. For board members, was there any project that stood up to them on income targeting, any lower than others that thought stood out above any of the other projects?
If I can speak to that for myself, Saddlehorn in Miles City had a 48% average income, and that was lower than other applicants.
And also Golden Lion in Charlotte. I think theirs was the lowest.
Any other board comments on income averaging or income level targeting?
Okay, Madam Chair, project efficiency would be the next one, that any board members have any project stand out as far as project efficiency. Unit costs, soft costs, debt coverage ratios, any of those stand out to any board members.
This is Rachel. The towers stood out to me.
And my
Rachel,
notes
could
would,
you sorry, Madam Chair, I was gonna ask if Rachel could elaborate on what stood out to her about the towers with respect to efficient use of credits.
Well, because it's a rehab, I just think the cost, it's cost efficient. The towers are. So that was just kind of my small little insight on that, on what I was thinking.
Thank you, Rachel.
And one thing you'll see on rehabs, their cost per units are typically lower than new construction to begin with, so.
Yes.
and my notes would indicate that for new construction, Sheep Mountain was lower than other applications. Actually, Saddlehorn as well under new construction. Saddlehorn and Pentler Pines were all under the 365 max. New construction.
The next category then, Chair Rice, would be geographical distribution. Geographical distribution might be, we put in there, have they had an award in the last 10 years? Are they in places that need housing? So any projects that stood out to board members as far as geographical distribution?
I think Granite Peak and Saddlehorn both stood out for having no recent fire awards. That was the theme struck on by the applicants. Yep.
I would also say that Miles City and Anaconda have had zero in the past 10 years, 0.4% or 9% application. So that stood out for me.
And then Chair Rice, the last one would be on community contributions. Any project that stood out as far as community contributing, any funds, any land, anything like that for community contributions.
I think the wildflower company stood out, being for the city putting up its equity to contribute to the project.
Okay.
Yeah, I would mimic that. Your creative financing is impressive.
I would comment that the donated land that the consolidated Anaconda Deer Lodge City County did donate that land, went through a exhaustive 3 times. They went out for RFPs and then donated the land, and also NSP funding was included. The other one that I noted was that Kalispell had TIF funding, and that's a relative new, housing is a relative new purpose for TIFs. So I was impressed that they took advantage of TIF.
And Chair Rice, that wraps up the discussion part.
Okay. I want to encourage board members, though, as they comment on their first 3 and then their next 2, why in particular that they might have chosen those, so developers in the future have a better idea of what kinds of things that we look for. So I'm going to call on you one by one, and we'll start with the more experienced board members to give the newer board members a little bit of modeling perhaps here. So let's start with Jeanette.
We were gonna do that. Experienced or oldest, but you know, it's real. Thank you, Sheila, very much. just as an, overview, it's very clear that it doesn't matter where we are in Montana, at all. And that everybody and every community needs and uses, could utilize housing. We all. And so the choices become tougher and tougher based on just that fact. Things are harder and money is harder to come by, and I'm the first to say that. I want to clarify, you want me to do my top three and then my immediately do four, so my next two? You all follow, okay. I was gonna do that enough. Okay, thank you. Number one will be Missoula and wildfire appointments. Yes, Missoula has gotten its share of, I love their creative financing. I like how they utilize, so location probably isn't exactly the reason for that one. I like the numbers that are served, and that's important to me, and I pay attention to that. Number two is going to be Livingston, Sheep Mountain Residences. We've got, I know the partners, I know HRDC, probably way back, Jeff Ruff was our person way back in all those days from HRDC. I appreciate all of what you do, you're gonna get some water sewer waivers, the city's community is helping, those kinds of things are really important to me. Number three is going to be, the towers project. I'm one who just hates to let what we have go away. I always struggle with that. I like the template, like Creekside and Missoula, which I'm very familiar with. That in itself, is very critically important to me. It's for rent assistance, low income folks, and so that's my number three. Number four is going to be Miles City, the Saddlehorn Apartments. I appreciate, Don, that you increased units and basically, without cost and things like that. I like people that are become a little bit more creative when you need to. And it's annexed into the city now. That was important. And my number five is going to be Butte, Granite Peak. I'm looking at my notes here. It was, it's just, I'm kind of a Butte girl backwards, and that's not really the reason that I'm doing that. But Butte is a kind of in the middle of the state. I believe they're gonna get the job done really well. Anyway, those are my top five.
Thank you, Jeanette, and thank you for going first. Amber, could I ask you to go next?
Yes, my number one is the Saddlehorn Apartments in Miles City. There haven't been any awards in the past 10 years in Miles City. I do like that they were able to increase the number of units, and they are also targeting the second lowest income levels. So that is my number one. My number two is Golden Lion Manor in Troy. Again, as Jeanette had mentioned about, when we let housing stock, I don't know the condition of this one in particular, but the longer they go without attention to things, the closer we get to them going out of service entirely to our lowest income earners. And this one targets the lowest of all the projects. Also too, with the lower amount that they're asking overall, it's nice to do some of those smaller projects in smaller communities. So Troy is my number two. Number three is Sheep Mountain in Livingston. 4%, 9% is always attractive. And again, I think Livingston is one of those communities that, although we have given a couple awards recently in the last 10 years, it is a community that often gets the overflow of what's happening in Gallatin County, and that impacts them significantly, and being able to provide more units in Livingston, is, a benefit. So those are my top three. Number 4 is Missoula, Wildflower Apartments. And number 5 is the tower in Billings. Again, those projects, being 4.9s are attractive, but also to, the number of units we're able to do in those projects is also a benefit to our larger populated cities. So those are my top 5.
All right, I'll go next. And so my top 3 in no particular order, just being the top 3. First of all would be the Saddlehorn in Miles City. I think it's time for Miles City to get in the war. They haven't had any in the past 10 years. Their cost per unit are slightly less than the maximum of 365. They did increase to 30 units, and they have a 48% income ratio, which I think is one on the lower end. Next in the top 3 would be the Outpost in Kalispell. Like that they got the TIF money. They have a very low vacancy rate there. Their income ratio is 53%, and this was a targeted population that I liked here as well, because I think that kids aging out of foster care and victims of domestic violence are really the people that get left out of the housing situation. It's just so hard to re-enter and to start your life brand new when you have either one of those. So I like the targeted population as well. And then lastly, Pintler Pines. I think that the Anaconda and Deer Lodge consolidated government did a good job at looking for RFPs. I think this is a great project for them. They haven't had any in the last 10 years. Their cost per unit is down to 362, so it's somewhat lower. And I like the idea of the donated land and the NSP funding that the local participation gave. So that would be my top 3. And then the next 2 would be Wildflowers 9 in Missoula. I like that this is a 4.9 project. I like the idea of the local participation of the 0% $7 million loan with a 40-year AM. You don't get much better term rates than that, or loan rates than that. And this really produces a lot of units, 96 total, when you add the 4 and the 9 together. And then the other, my second tier would be Sheep Mountain and Livingston, very low cost per unit, lots of units. It's a 4.9 again, which I tend to favor because you get more units out of it. So those would be the pieces that I would vote for. Let's move on to Ryan.
Thank you. For my number 1 choice, I have Golden Lion Manor in Troy. This stood out to me for the very low vacancy rate, the targeted low income population. It's our only rural applicant this year. I think geographic diversity leans in their favor, as well as a relatively efficient project. The second choice is Granite Peak in Butte. I did take note of the lack of any prior awards in the past 10 years, the low vacancy rates and low income target as well. For number 3, I have Wildflower 9 in Missoula. One of the larger projects, I think 40 units. I found the need to preserve the project rental assistance pretty compelling. As well as again, the low vacancy rates as well. And then in my second tier, I have the Outpost in Kalispell. Again, looking at the low vacancy rates and the low income targets and the TIF funding. And then for the 5th choice, I have Saddlehorn in Miles City. Again, low income, lack of prior awards, and a relatively efficient project.
Thank you, Ryan. Let's go to Rhonda.
Rachel?
Oh, I'm sorry, Rachel. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I will go by Rhonda today. It feels like a
No, no.
Rhonda.
I want you to be a Rachel.
Okay. So for my top three, I have Golden Lion Manor in Troy. I liked that it was rural and also preserving a building that's already existing. It's also we're an aging state, so it's kind of helping with that aging population. Then Saddlehorn and Miles City, also rural. That area has not had very many awards. The income levels were appealing. And then Missoula, Wildflower. I also the financing and fixing the housing gap in Missoula, and that it's 4-9 project, and also back to fixing the housing, the low vacancy rates. Then I have Billings, Tower 9, rehab is attractive, and then it's the 4-9. And then I have Kalispell, the outpost. This is kind of my forte. I love that they're addressing those social determinants of health within their community, and also low vacancy rate and bridging those housing gaps in the area.
Thank you, Rachel. I appreciate that. Richard.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I added my first project, number one, as towers and buildings. I think it was said earlier, keep what you got. And I think it's just important, a lot of units involved and keeping those available for low income. Number two on my list, I should start off by saying, what an impressive group of projects we have. And thank you all for your submissions. This is not an easy process. And I could have easily supported everything on this list. There's just a lot of work that's gone into it. So I wanted to get that said right at the offset. Second, Saddlehorn, I like the idea of rural. I like the fact the city is annexed. I think the fact that they've heard the board and they've increased the density just a bit and gotten us a couple of extra units there is they're listening to what's being said. So Saddlehorn is number two. Number three, Wildflower and Missoula, again, keeping what we have in stock and keeping this available in an area that desperately is in need of housing. Number four, Sheep Mountain over in Livingston. I feel like it's an area of the state that just really has suffered along with a lot of others for lack of housing, and there's just not housing stock there. And there is, I think Rachel mentioned a moment ago, there's kind of a social determinant of health involved that kept the wellness concept and keeping it close into town. I thought that was a remarkable part of that project. And lastly, but not lastly, Outpost up in Kalispell, probably the most desperately in need of housing of all the projects here, and it's been very thoughtfully put together with some good pricing parameters. So those are the top five for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard, and thanks to all of the board members for their careful consideration. I know we all spent a lot of time over the last few days just trying to make sure that this reflected what we thought Montana needed. I've often said that this is the second hardest day of my life during the year. The first is making the first round decisions, and now making the second round decisions. Again, to echo what Richard said, these are such valuable, important projects. And the real answer is that we just flat out need more money. That might be coming through, but right now we know what we have to work with. It appears that we have we have four top contenders, and then the fifth and sixth would be tied for 9. Let me stop here for a minute and ask Cheryl and Jason for any help. So it looks to me like we have to have a runoff between the 2 9 projects. Is that correct?
Just having it up real quick here, Chair Rice. So we have Saddleboard, Wildflower, Powers 9, and Sheep Mountain. That adds up to 31,200,000. That would leave us with 4.1 million of the 35.3 million left. And then we would also have a little over $4 million if we actually go to the 39.5.
And Jason, what's the time frame on knowing that? You don't have it.
Could be any hour, could
Yeah.
be a month,
Yeah.
probably depends when the government gets back to work again.
What'd you say the total was?
Right now, 31,200,000.
So, so we have 4 that we can fund, and then we have $4.3 million left from the allocation that we expected, or that we're expecting. It could be a little bit more. So Jason, I think we should have a discussion about whether or not we want to partially fund another one. And I believe the staff recommendation in the presentation was that we not fund partial. Do I have that correct?
Yes, on a small rural one, the presentation was not to do partial, but I mean, we got 4.1 million left, and, you know, small rural is almost there. Or the other question would be, and maybe Nathan could speak to that more, do we figure in the extra money that we would probably be getting, you know, and then you can fund a bigger one, so it just kind of depends on, Chair Rice, how you want to go forward with that.
Yeah, I mean, the motion, you can't allocate funds if we don't have it this time, so a motion could be conditional, right? So a motion to award a project, the amount of the credits presently available, and any remaining credits to the extent they become available up to the amount originally applied for. So there could be a conditional award of to be allocated credits.
Okay, so the 4 we have, the screen moved too fast for me. The 4 that are funded are Saddlehorn, Wildflower, Towers, and Sheep Mountain, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so, and then, would we vote on the 2 9s, or would we vote on all of the remaining for a partial award?
Oh, they would. Yeah, we would do all of them then, as if we do a partial award, correct? So we have $4.1 million left. It doesn't fund any of these, it almost funds the small rural, so. We could do as Nathan said, we could do a conditional approval for any of those, if we want to take into the 39,500,000, or we could just use the 4.1 for now and do a partial if we wanted. So it's up to the board how they want to proceed.
Would the board like to have a tie-breaking vote for all of the 4 projects that aren't in the top?
Or we could take a break if you want.
And if you, yeah, as well.
I would support the tiebreaker vote.
I would also.
So Logan, if you could add, I apologize, I only did the first 2, but add those other 2 projects to the tie-breaking vote in the tally below. And then Jason, to avoid getting a second tie, would we want each board member to select 1 priority at 3 and 1 second at 2?
Sure.
Cheryl,
Julie, yes.
I'm just looking at the spreadsheet, and the cities are now not attached to the correct project. So you might take the city reference out of there.
Okay, if you just want to delete the city's slogan for now. Thank you, Julie.
So are we gonna do a conditional vote or a partial?
So conditional, Nathan, could you relay?
Yeah, so, and if the board were to vote now and rank order the remaining choices, the options would be, and I think it would depend on the amount of the, that are requested between the various projects. The board could then vote to fully fund, or I guess, allocate all the remaining credits to the top ranked project of these four after the tie-breaking vote. And then conditionally award, the remaining tax credits to, that project up to the extent of its initial application. And then there could be, depending on how close, that project is, there could be also a conditional motion that to the extent additional credits become available in excess of, the project chosen and its award with original amount, they can get those remaining amounts. So say, project X, we award it, they can get a conditional award up to their original amount, or could conditionally put another project in line at that time. Or it could not, where you can just vote on right now, rank order, and then just award that project the 4.1 remaining.
So right now we have 4.1 remaining, but what we know for sure we have.
Yeah.
The rest that we think should be getting by law would be $4.2 million. So that could be 8.3 we're still dealing right now.
Right, so that's where any motion that would award those outstanding amounts would need to make clear this. Then we don't know when we're going to receive them, we know we have 4.1, so whichever vote receives the highest ranked order after the second round of voting, that project will be awarded the existing credits and additional credits to the extent they become available up to the amount of the original application.
And then they would have 30 days to get us an application in for that.
Yes, and we could go through and we have some language about specifically what that would be. It might be that this amount you get is even further. They could fund that project with the conditional credits and then some more. And if the board wanted to rank order somebody to receive the credits after that, they could. Or they could just approve this project for now. Whatever project retains the title.
So just for some clarity here, so I think in the past we've actually rank ordered, and if the highest ranking project decided not to reapply for this or not to accept the lower award, then it went to the next project to decide whether or not they wanted it. And it just saves us a step perhaps if we want to do it that way. Is that possible?
That's correct, Chair Rice.
Okay, all right. And right now what we would be awarding to the rank order, starting with number 1, would be 4.1 million remaining from this year's allocation. Any remaining any additional credits that are awarded when we figure out when the feds send us the award, and then any other credits that might come at a later date through 2026?
Correct.
All right, so Cheryl, Jason, do we need to take a break and consider this further, or are we ready to go?
I think it'd be nice to finish for it. Sure. Chair Rice, they would prefer a break.
A break? Okay, let's go ahead and we'll take just a 10-minute break now. That'll give the board members a chance to think about how they would vote. So you're only going to get 2 choices this time. You have to pick a first choice and a second choice. First choice gets 3 points, second choice gets 2 points. Do I have that right, Jason?
That's correct, Sheila.
Okay, all right, thank you for the help on that. Okay, we'll give board members till 22, 8 minutes to consider their choices.
Okay.
Madam Rice, we've now resumed the recording and we're ready to proceed with tie-breaking vote.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the voting for a partial or subsequent award to the 4 projects that were not funded in the first round or accepted in the first round. It would be Golden Lion Manor, Granite Peak in Butte, the Outpost in Kalispell, and Pintler Pines in Anaconda. So those are the 4 that are ready for our votes. We'll call on people in the same order that we did originally. And again, you name your top finisher of those 4, and then your second finish for those 4. Top gets 3 votes, the next one gets 2 votes. Let's start with Jeanette.
My first vote is for Kalispell Outpost. My second is for Butte Granite Peak.
Amber?
My first is Golden Lion Manor in Troy, and my second is Outpost at Kalispell.
I'll go next. My first is Outpost in Kalispell, and the second is Pintler Pines in Anaconda. Ryan?
My first vote is Golden Lion Manor. My second is Granite Peak.
Rachel?
My first is Golden Lion Manor and my second is Outpost Kalispell.
Richard?
My first is Outpost in Kalispell, second is Golden Lion up in Troy.
Okay, so the Outpost in Kalispell is the accepted applicant in the second round of voting here for a subsequent award. And then in order, it would be the Golden Lion Manor, Granite Peak, and then Pintler Pines. So that would be the 1 through 4 order. We're ready to talk about our motions, I believe. I had a question for council. The motion reads that we specify the order of the awards. And we had a tie for first and a tie for second, and I just wanted to know if we needed to reword that. We don't really have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 1, 1, 2, 2.
Yeah, so the award for this listing, for motion 1, the fully funded awards, Chair, will just list, the first 4. So while we state that for purposes of the specified conditions, the product are awarded in the following order, all are fully funded, so there's no concern on that front. Our second motion, where we will rank order, these remaining 4 will be, listed in the order in which the vote, has just been taken.
All right. So I'm going to read this motion and ask council and staff to make sure that I've read it right, and then I'll ask for someone to make the motion. So
Yeah,
the
Madam
motion, yes, go
Madam
ahead.
Chair, I believe Nathan has almost finished a revised motion based on the discussion today, and he'll be able to read out the revised motion for you to proceed with, if that works for you.
That's perfect for me. Yeah, you go ahead. Go ahead,
Yes,
Jason.
and we'll do 2 motions. The first motion will be for the projects that are receiving a full award, and then the second motion will be for the projects that, as a rank ordering of the projects invited to reapply for the 4.1 million remaining tax credits. So first, I will read the first motion, and the chair can ask for a motion or a second, and then the vote, and then after that is complete, then we'll come back. I'll read the second motion. So the first.
Go ahead.
Sorry, the first motion that is proposed is move to award 2026 housing credits to the following slate of projects, subject to the conditions specified below. For purposes of the specified conditions, the projects are awarded housing credits in the following order. 1, towers 9%, the amount of $7,500,000 originally requested, contingent upon the applicant also completing the associated 4% in applications submitted. 2, Wildflower 9% in the amount of $8,500,000 originally requested, contingent upon the applicant also completing the associated 4% application submitted. 3, Saddlehorn in the amount of $8,500,000 originally requested. 4, Sheep Mountain 9% in the amount of $6,700,000 originally requested, contingent upon the applicant also completing the associated 4% application submitted. The conditions below, be read into the record of the award. Conditions include 1, reduction in available credits. In the event that the amount of 2026 housing credits available to MDOH is reduced by the IRS after this award termination, the amount of credits awarded for lowest numbered projects, i.e. in reverse order covering, shall be reduced as necessary to reflect the reduction in 2026 credits. For example, if after this award determination, the IRS reduces the amount of 2026 housing credits available for award on MDOH by $500,000, the last numbered project, i.e. project report, was awarded $600,000, the award of such project was reduced by $100,000. If the last numbered project, number 5, was awarded $300,000, second to last numbered project, e.g. project number 4 was awarded $600,000, the last priority project number 5 was reduced to 0, and a second to last priority project award reduced to $400,000. Condition 2, nonprofit award conditions. Nonprofit projects awarded credit will be subject to the nonprofit set aside for code section 42H5, and MDOH shall so designate such allocation on projects IRS form 8609 in accordance with the applicable 2AP. The award of nonprofit project listed first above receiving at least 10% of Montana's credit ceiling will be designated by MDOH as the award meeting nonprofit set aside under code section 42H5. 2 or more of the above listed projects may be so designated as necessary to meet the 10% nonprofit set aside under code section 42H5, and MDOH shall so designate such allocation on each such project's IRS form 8609. Chair, that is the first motion presented before the board.
So Jason, my comment or question is the same as I said earlier. We had a tie for 1 and 2, and so now there is a 1 and 2 because you said there was. Or 3 and 4 were a tie. So which one of those would get the reduction? Shouldn't it be shared equally if there was a reduction?
So yeah, so it would go up. So number 4 would be would be Sheep Mountain, which is listed as number 4. So that would be the reduction. To the extent the reduction exceeded $6.7 million, then it would be the number 3 award, which was our you may try that correct regard.
Well, Sheep Mountain and the other one were the same number of points though. And you're calling them 3 and 4, but I don't understand the fairness of that.
No, that would be, I thought the tie was on the 3 and 4, so, or the 2 and 3. So yeah, to the extent the tie is at 3 and 4, then the reduction would have to be shared over on it.
Okay, all right.
Madam Chair, this is Bruce. Just clarify, Saddlehorn would then be our nonprofit project?
Well, I think all but 1 were nonprofit projects.
But we have to pick one to put on the form for the IRS, so okay. I'm assuming it's Saddlehorn.
Saddlehorn and Wildflower are both nonprofits. So it could be either one. So I guess it doesn't matter. So let's just pick Saddlehorn. Thank you, Bruce, for pointing that out. Jason, I've lost you, or are you considering what we should do next?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm just sorry. I'm reading through our condition number 1, Sheila, to just see to the extent that we need to modify the language when we're talking about the reduction of credit in the order in which the project is listed, to reflect the extent that there's a tie. So our projects that were tied are 3 and 4 projects, and 1 and 2. Okay, so we have sorry, I'm just gonna tweak this a little bit on the fly. I'm gonna repropose that motion language to you. Okay.
So we'll give council a minute to re-propose the motion. Only the reduction, number 1, the conditions are what we're tweaking right now.
But, and Chair, I'll tweak on this. I think we need to just indicate how many points each are awarded, just so that we can state in the motion that any reductions of those projects with high points is shared pro rata, just so that it's clear in the record what those amounts were. So just working on that right now.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Madam Chair, while Nathan is finishing, refining the motion just for precision and our legal, you know, how it's gonna stand up later for our minutes and whatnot. Do you want to use this opportunity to call for any public comment before the board proceeds with a motion and a vote?
That's an excellent idea. All right, so the chair would ask for any public comment on the motion for the awards to the top 4 applicants, with a slight change in the wording regarding a reduction in credits. Are there any public comments on that motion?
Appears to be none in the room, Madam Chair.
Okay, is there any board discussion of the motion?
No.
So Cheryl, I think we just have to wait this out. Is there anything else that you want to advance on the agenda while we're pending this motion?
I think so, Madam Chair. I think knowing that we're gonna move to the second motion, you could also call for public comment on the second motion for the second, or for the ranks 4 of the remaining 4 applications.
Okay. So I'm going to read this, and this would be our second motion. The
Oh,
second
Madam Chair, I
motion-
think, Madam Chair, I think if you just want to take public comment, for the voting results on the second ones, and Logan, if you would mind scrolling down to the second tier. And then it looks like Nathan's about ready to
Anybody number
go
one.
for the revised motion one. So if you'd like to just pause, Madam Chair, Nathan can read the revised motion and we can proceed.
Okay, so let's go ahead with the revised condition on motion 1.
All right, so, Madam Chair, I will read motion 1, revised to reflect the tied point totals and stating them, and then we'll read the revised conditions regarding the same. So the motion before the board at this time is move to award 2026 housing credits to the following slate of projects subject to the conditions specified below. For purposes of the specified conditions, the projects are awarded housing credits in the following order. The 2 projects ranked first at 16 points are as follows. Saddlehorn in the amount of $8,500,000 originally requested. Wildflower, 9% in the amount of $8,500,000 originally requested, contingent upon the applicant also completing associated 4% application submitted. The 2 projects ranked second at 10 points are Tower, 9% in the amount of $7,500,000 originally requested, contingent upon the applicant also completing the associated 4% application submitted. Sheep Mountain, 9% in the amount of $6,700,000 originally requested, contingent upon the applicant also completing the associated 4% application. The conditions are condition 1, reduction in available credits. In the event that the amount of 2026 housing credits available to NBOH reduced by the IRS after this award determination, the amount of credits awarded to the lowest numbered projects, i.e. in reverse order of numbering, shall be reduced as necessary to reflect the reduction in available 2026 credits, with tied projects sharing reduction pro rata between each. For example, if after this award determination, the IRS reduces the amount of 2026 housing credits available for award by NBOH by 500,000, and the last numbered projects with it being tied amounts awarded 600,000, the award for said project was reduced by 100,000 shared pro rata among tied projects. If the last numbered project was awarded 300,000, and the second to last numbered projects, excluding any tie, was awarded 600,000, then the last priority project or projects in the case of tie would be reduced to $0, and the second to last priority projects in the event of tie would share the reduction pro rata. Condition number 2, nonprofit award conditions. Nonprofit projects awarded credits will be subject to the nonprofit set aside under code section 42H5, and NBOH shall so designate such allocation on the project's IRS form 8609 in accordance with the applicable QAP. The award of the nonprofit project listed first above, receiving at least 10% of Montana's credit ceiling, will be designated by NBOH as the award meeting the nonprofit set aside under code section 42H5. 2 or more of the above listed projects may be so designated as necessary to meet the 10% nonprofit set aside under code section 42H5, and NBOH shall so designate such allocation on each such project's IRS form 8609. Chair, that includes the motion and conditions for the ruling.
Let's get the motion on the floor. Would a board member like to make that motion, please?
So move, Jeanette.
And do I have a second for that motion?
Second, Amber.
Motion's been made and seconded. You've heard it read by council. Board discussion on the motion, please. Any discussion?
Seeing none.
Is there any public comment on the motion?
Seeing none, Madam Chair.
All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, please signify by saying nay. The motion passes. We'll move on to the next motion, which is allocation of remaining credits less than the full award.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So the second motion that would be before the board today would be as follows. Move to approve the following slate ranking the remaining applicant projects in the following order of priority for purposes of an award of the remaining available credits in the amount of $4,100,000 and subject to section 3K, the applicable QAP, any additional credits that become available up to the amount of the original full request according to the following procedure. The first priority project for such an award would be allowed 30 days to resubmit its application, resized to the above specified amount of credits remaining available. After staff underwriting and evaluation of the resized application, if MBOH staff determines based upon the resized application that the development is financially feasible and viable as a qualified low-income housing project throughout the compliance period, MBOH staff will enter into a reservation agreement with the project for the above specified amount of credits. If the first priority project fails to submit a resized application within 30 days, or MBOH staff determines in their discretion that the project is not financially feasible or viable as proposed in the resized application, the next priority project will be invited to submit a resized application, and so on until the remaining credits are reserved for one of the prioritized projects. Any award under this resolution shall be subject to continuing availability of such credits of MBOH from the IRS. 1. Outpost at Kalispell. 2. Golden Lion Manor. 3. Granite Peak. 4. Hitler Pines. Madam Chair, that is the motion that is now before the board.
Chair Rice. Quick question.
Go ahead.
Nathan, just on the 30 days to get an application, and it usually would start from today, but would it then start if the IRS gets back to us on that extra 12%? So when is it allowed to start that 30-day ticker? Does it have to start today or when we know on that other $4.2 million?
Well, so the way that this is drafted, Jason, they're submitting it based off of the $4,100,000. We don't know when they're going to get that, so I think it's.
So if it's not feasible for Outpost and the IRS comes back in 32 days, but then by that time it's already gone to this fund.
Right, so the question, and I guess this is a question for the board, there could be a notice of final IRS determination, and whenever you get that notice of final IRS determination, and I think we would again want to tweak your standard language here a little bit, so that 30 days starts on, and what is there a formal name of that notification, Jason? I've never seen it.
So,
okay, well then
just as notified by IRS or treasury.
Yeah, the 30 days, but I guess here's the question that I have for you. If they do not adjust it in any amount, will they tell you that?
We should get a confirmation. So there's many, like NCSHA is called treasury, so there's lots of different programs looking to get clarification. So when we get notified, we'll get notified either.
Okay, so there will be a date certain. What we don't want to have happen is just a 30-day ticker that never starts. Okay, so there will be a notification from the IRS as to the final amount. We can condition this 30 days to submit based off of that notification. Perfect. Okay, so here we go again. This is lawyering in real time. I'm going to tweak that language to reflect that that condition that Jason just indicated, so that gives everybody the Outpost at Kalispell and Golden Lion through the list that same opportunity to have a full 30 days with knowing the exact amount of the IRS is allowed. This will quicker than the last lawyering in real time.
Okay, so while we're waiting for that tweak in the first sentence of this proposed motion, which today says within 30 days, and we'll say something like within 30 days of IRS notification of full award. Is there any board discussion of this motion? Is there any discussion of this motion?
Seeing none in the room, Madam Chair.
Okay, so I don't think I actually asked someone to make the motion, so I guess we should wait till the final language and then we'll ask a board member to make the motion.
So before I read this form, I just want to make sure that there's back across. For 3 days from notification. The applicant. Of the final IRS determination of credits. To be submitted to application and go through. Does that make sense? We'll start the 30 days, not from the date that you receive notice, but 30 days from the date that you provide the applicant. Perfect. We'll be, Madam Chair. The motion presently before the board is as follows. Move to approve the following slate, ranking the remaining applicant projects in the following order of priority for purposes of an award of the remaining available credits in the amount of $4,100,000 and subject to pay of the applicable QAP, any additional credits that become available up to the amount of the original full request according to the following procedure. The first priority project for such an award will be allowed 30 days from board notification to the applicant of the final IRS determination of credits to resubmit its application, resize the amount specified above or noticed by the board of credits remaining available. After staff underwriting and evaluation of the resized application, if MDOH staff determines based upon the resized application that the development is financially feasible and viable as a qualified low-income housing project throughout the compliance period, MDOH staff will enter into a reservation agreement for the project for the above specified amount of credits. If the first priority project fails to submit a resized application within 30 days or MDOH staff determines in their discretion the project is not financially feasible or viable as proposed in the resized application, the next priority project will be invited to submit a resized application and so on until remaining credits are reserved for one of the prioritized projects. Any award under this resolution shall be subject to continuing availability of such credits and MDOH from the IRS. 1. Outpost at Kellisville. 2. Golden Lion Manor. 3. Granite Peak. 4. Antler Pines. Madam Chair, that is the motion before the board.
Thank you. Thank you for lawyering on the fly there. We appreciate it very much. The board chair would accept a motion to, ask a board member to make the motion as it was read.
So moved. Ryan.
Second?
Second, Jeanette.
Okay, been moved and seconded. That the motion of awarding from the remaining tax credits less than the full award be adopted. Is there any board discussion of this motion? Is there any public discussion of this motion?
Seeing none.
Board members, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. I believe we have one more of motion then. Council's proposed motion number 4, additional credits become available.
Quick second. There. I know, I just want to make sure I was correct on that. Since we rank ordered, Madam Chair, all of the remaining projects in our second motion, there is no need to do further ranking.
Okay, all right. So then we have no more motions to come before the board in regard to awarding credits, correct?
Right.
Okay. Then would someone notify Bruce that he can come back in the room and take over the chairmanship, please?
I did already. I believe he's on his way.
Okay, great, great. Well, in the interest of time, maybe we should go ahead and get started. Is there any, oh, I'm sure there is. Jason, do you have a more multifamily program update?
Would have the dashboard, we wait till for Bruce to get here. So,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Sure, right, we got a lot of people leaving and it's pretty loud. We just want to hold on for a couple minutes, so.
Sure,
It gets
no,
quiet.
that's fine, yeah. Okay, so all of the development, please resubmit. Don't give up on us. We'd love to fund everybody every year. These are all quality projects that are very much needed in Montana.
Page 196.
Yeah.
Okay, we ready to proceed?
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you very much for I assume it was a roaring meeting. Let's move on to the multifamily program update, if you would, Jason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The dashboard, there's not a whole lot to go over. We have had some payoffs come in on some of the loan programs. So we have more money in the buckets. We're on hold right now taking applications till the ARMS is done with House Bill 924 as well on those buckets of money. So we can have a process of possible competitive round in the spring. Yeah. Next month, we will have the quarter reports were due October 10th. So still going through those. We didn't have time to go through them all before the board got done. So we'll have a report on full reports next month. Okay.
Sure, you're all fired. Do you have any questions for Jason? Any more questions for Jason? And or comments?
Good job today, Jason.
Do we have any public comments or questions for Jason? Seeing none. Seeing none, we will move on to the accounting program engagement.
Good morning. In your board packet, you'll see the investment dashboard. On the first table, what I wanted to do on the with the investments is we're buying mortgage-backed securities as program investments as opposed to investments for monies. You know, we're using a bond, we're buying those investments. I wanted to be able to provide the board with the information about the amount of mortgage-backed securities that we have in our portfolio as we move on and continue to do that program. But it was kind of intermingled in with the regular board investments as well. So on the tables that I have in the investment dashboard now, the two charts, the two bar charts on the, or bar graphs, excuse me, on the far right, they detail the mortgage-backed security that we have in the program. But the information in the agenda item actually just details our funds that are invested, not including the MBSs. So if you're looking at this, the numbers don't match up because we have $102,000 or $2 million in MBSs, and I'm going to say that we have $190 million in investments, and the math doesn't add up on the bottom of this bar chart or bar graph. But it's because I didn't include the MBSs, but I left them on the bar graph because I want you guys to know how much we got in the program for those. So this graph, this dashboard is as of the end of August. The board's investment balance, not including the new program MBSs, was 190 million. With approximately 175.3 million of that deposited into money market, earning 4.17. The money market balance includes $19.6 million of debt service and mortgage reserves, as well as 83.5 million of the 2025A and 2025B acquisition bond acquisition account, which is the bond proceeds that we're buying those MBS as well. The remaining 14.7 million of funds are invested in Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac bonds, and there's a small MBS still outstanding from the prior MBS program that we ran in 2008. The rates on those investments range between 3.69 and 6.25%. The board's current MBS program has been well received by lenders, and by the end of August, we purchased $102.1 million of Ginnie Mae MBS and 4.8 million of Fannie Mae MBS. The average yield for each investment type, and the par of those investment types are calculated Montana Board of Housing uses the average yield for investment type and the par value of those same investment types to calculate the weighted average yield of our investments. The weighted average yield has decreased from year to year from 5.29 in August 2024 to 4.28 in 2025. And the rate decreased from 4.41 in July to 4.28 at the end of August. And those averages don't include the rates on the MBSs. And the listed maturities on the bottom of the table on the spreadsheet that lists the maturity dates for the investments not included in the MBSs. So the table of maturities looks like a dictation. If the board has any other questions regarding the dashboard, I'd be happy to answer.
Are there any more questions and or comments from Nikki? I just have a procedural question.
Sure.
Before we issue a bond, which we still issue,
Correct.
we fill the bond with the loan and we take the loan on our books.
Yes.
Now we, in essence, sell, in theory, sell a loan to Fannie or Freddie, get venture, or Jenny, excuse me. And Idaho becomes a servicer. And then we get the mortgage, we get the MBS as our collateral, our plans. What's the procedure?
So, the lender, they still reserve the loans with Montana Board of Housing through we have an online system that they've always used to reserve the loans. But so that it is kind of so they reserve the loans from us.
Yeah.
And then as Idaho is working to purchase those loans, we're reviewing a compliance package for the IRS. Idaho is reviewing a package to make sure that the title and everything is lined up and it's a sellable loan. And then Idaho purchases it, and then they give us a list of loans that are gonna be included in any pool that they put together that's being securitized. And then they give us the notice of delivery once the loans have been securitized and we're ready for settlement. And then we purchase that MBS program.
That's the answer to my question.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions or comments from board? Do we have any public questions or comments regarding Vicky's report?
One, Chair Posey.
Thank you very much, Joe. I appreciate it. That being said, let's move on to home ownership and Jessica.
Good morning. Good morning, board, everyone. The first thing is a letter of approval for Premier Mortgage Services LLC. I'm told that either Corey Swain or Caleb Wilson would be on this call. Are they with us?
Caleb is online.
Yep, I'm here. Hey, guys.
Great.
I don't know if my thing is working or anything, but hello.
Premier Mortgage Resources was founded by Greg Marecki and Richard Ford. Although their name was temporarily retired through a series of mergers and acquisitions, their operations continued, and the company was officially relaunched in 2005. Idaho native Corey Swain joined as managing partner in the years that followed. Under his leadership, PMR, we'll call it, achieved a 42% year-over-year growth rate in 2018, 23% in 2019, and nearly 60% in 2020. Their headquarters were relocated by Swain to Meridian, Idaho in 2021. And in 2022, they transitioned into a employee stock ownership plan, making every employee a stakeholder in their success. PMR currently has 495 employees. Their location at 3345 Fulton Drive in Helena has 3 loan officers, and they will soon have 4 loan officers at a second office in Kalispell. Leading with their mission to build a top-tier mortgage company where their employees are empowered, valued, and excited to drive growth by helping more families achieve the dream of homeownership. PMR specializes in a wide range of financing solutions, including conventional, FHA, VA, USDA, HUD 184, and reverse mortgages. Premier Mortgage Resources, application material, quality control plan, and financials have been reviewed and approved by staff, and they meet all the requirements for becoming a Montana Board of Housing participating lender. Their full application and financial information are available to board members to review upon request. The staff requests that the board approve Premier Mortgage Resources LLC as a participating lender for Montana Board of Housing.
Do we have any board questions and or comments regarding Premier Mortgage Resource LLC? Do we have any public comments or questions? Hearing none, may I have a motion and a second for approval of Premier Mortgage Resources LLC as an approved lender for the Montana Board of Housing.
So
So
moved.
moved. Been moved, seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Back to
Thank you.
Jessica.
Welcome to the team.
Thank you so much. We're honored and we'll do right.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
My dashboard is up next. Things to ask, point out to the board, our turn times for mortgage-backed security, Idaho master servicer loans still remain at under 60 days average, which is our lock period. So that's good. You'll also notice further down that we've done 446 first mortgages and almost 200 second mortgages. Couple of things that I wanted to ask the board for their input on is on page 1 here, where it says foreclosures. These are all Idaho loans on this app. So it says how many were delinquent, how long they were delinquent, how many were many first mortgages. My question for the board is on the foreclosures, would you like those to be pointed out? Would you like that information? And if so, would you like that to be carved out as far as loan type? FHA, VA, RD, or would you just like to know first and seconds, or you don't? Idaho handles it, you don't care.
I still think it's important we know what type of product we are sending on and in our backs. Yes. And if we could know one type, I think that's valuable. Particularly if we get into a higher portfolio period.
Okay, that will take that and run with it. The other thing further down, if you could, Logan, where it says August portfolio summary. This portfolio summary here includes all of our whole loans plus all of our Idaho loans. It's what has always been given to you as far as our portfolio. But as you know, that portfolio has changed, and you could take it, I mean, portfolio would be just what we have, so our VHLP and our habitat things like that. So would you like that to still be all encompassing as one set of numbers? Or would you like me to carve out MBSs? And you want to know those separate, or you just want to know our portfolio, or?
I think we need to know the size of our service and portfolio, whether it's on this report or the service fund. So we can see what's happening to it. As far as the Idaho, I think we should know the portfolio, just so we know what we're doing. I think that's great, but more concern, at least from my standpoint, is the fact that we know our portfolio will decrease. And it's the rapidness or not of that, for my staff, that's important, so, yes.
So what I could do is have this just be, this section just be our whole loans that are on our portfolio right now that we're servicing, and then have a second identical chart, but just have that be for the loans held by the master servicer. So it would come out to tell you each type of loan and how much.
I think that'd be great for
That's
that.
And then just one technical issue with between this and what you see like, excuse me, in that servicing dashboard. The servicing dashboard that you see, you only see the loan serviced by Montana Board of Housing. We do have external servicers. I believe there's still 4 other banks who held onto the portfolio of loans that they were servicing at the time that we took on servicing. And so Jessica's dashboard currently here includes those small servicers as well as Montana Board of Housing servicing. And so I think you just want to know what that there's a differentiation between what she might show and what you might see on the actual servicing dashboard.
But those 4 small services, they don't even have 100 loans, do they?
It might be right around 100 loans. Okay, so I'll figure that out as well. I think that's all I wanted to point out. I am open for questions. If you have any questions, regarding that?
Are there any questions or comments from the board regarding Jessica's report? I have a question only because I learned that I was hunting trip from a previous owner. Man mortgage is no longer.
And mortgage is no longer, well,
It got bought up or assumed or something like, and is that company come in us for approval?
Yeah.
Okay. I just know.
I can speak for that if you'd like. This is Corey Hill.
Corey Hill was at Man Mortgage. I was just picking that up, Corey. Corey Hill was at Man Mortgage and he has moved on and made his home with Premier Mortgage, right?
Yeah, so actually what happened was about this time a year ago, Man Mortgage was acquired by a company called Synergy One Lending. Synergy One did get approved last year in October or November as a lender. And many of us that had moved along over with Synergy originated with Board of Housing Loans. A few of us, the Kalispell branch, which was really the original Man Mortgage, Steve Paulson as the branch manager there with his daughter, and myself have moved away from Synergy to PMR, and hopeful that you might see some others in the future. So Synergy, I believe, is still lending and originating. They have branches still in Missoula and Great Falls. And like I said, Paulson's team in Kalispell and us have moved over to PMR. Super excited, great company. And thank you guys for approving us today.
Thank you for the information. I appreciate it. Any other board questions or comments? Are there any public questions or comments?
Evening, Chair Posey.
Hearing none. Jessica, thank you very much. And we'll move on to the mortgage servicing program. Cheryl.
All right, so mortgage servicing dashboard update. Obviously, I'm not Mary Popovich. It is covered in the operations and executive dashboard, but Mary, her resignation and departed the board October 3rd. She's moved to another state agency. We're actively recruiting for her position. The first review of applications timeline has already closed and we have 4 interviews presently scheduled over the next couple of weeks. I'd like to thank Danielle Bauer, our daily operations supervisor, for preparing the dashboard report for this board meeting. I'd also like to thank both Vicki Bauer and Jessica Michael, who are serving as interim co-servicing program managers during this time, with Jessica supporting the team on kind of morale, team building, day-to-day sorts of things, and Vicki able to step in on accounting, technical, information system technology issues. And in addition, Doug Jensen, our foreclosure specialist, agreed to serve as an interim supervisor over the loss mitigation staff that were previously directly supervised by Mary. So it's been a real team effort of getting everybody together to ensure that folks feel supported while we're in that position. So for the dashboard, our total portfolio loans for the end of September was 6,063. That's is a bit of a decline from 6,300 in September of last year. This includes 5,413 Board of Housing loans. We'll be migrating this dashboard a little bit on that BOI line. So these were the Veterans Home Loan Program loans. And to date, 267 of them have now been assigned to the Montana Board of Housing. This was due to the changes to implement House Bill 924. There are a few still lingering with just some miscellaneous details that Jessica's team's working on, but major kudos to her and her team for getting all of those assignments in, and for Director Villa over at BOI for signing a huge stack of assignments. So we could get those reported before October 1st, when the title reporting fees increased quite significantly. So excellent work there. We have 17 multifamily loans and 348 homeowner assistance fund loans. For total pool escrow all loans, just a little over 7 million. We have 274 delinquent loans at 60 days plus. That's a little bit of a decrease from last month and a slight decrease from this time last year. There are 2 loans in foreclosure sale, and the total foreclosures this calendar year is now at 7. The team had 645 delinquent contacts to make. And just shy of 1,080 loans were assessed with late fees. And so the late fee revenue for this last month was a bit higher than last month, around 35.5. We received 47 payoffs and 3 new loans. So this is illustrating the trend of the portfolio in-house declining at the time. I want to call your attention to the HUD National Servicing Center SFDMS reporting Q score for quarter 2. In prior dashboards, we had reported that the FHA Servicing Center were delayed in providing those quarterly scores to us. Prior to Mary's departure, we did receive the prior 2 quarters of score, and we did drop quite a bit. And the major part of this score that is decreasing our overall average is the FHA SFDMS reporting itself, where we were scoring in the low 30 percentile. It appears some of the impacts for that low score relate to the interface and how we are doing the reporting. And once you get in the reporting, it will show that you have, hard errors or fatal errors. But once it's in the system, the staff had advised me that you can't change it once it's in there. So I think in prior months, we had upwards of 30 or 40 of these errors. As of last month, I think we got them down to around a dozen. We're also reached out to DLS Consulting, Donna Schmidt. We have an on-standing consulting contract with her. And one of the services they can provide is assistance with enhancing our FHA tier score. We have a meeting with her and her team later this week, so we can really dig into the details as to why our score dropped so considerably, and what we need to do to immediately correct these so we can improve that score. We've had quite a few meetings as a team, and I'm really glad that we'll be able to work with Donna to get that outside support as well. For loss mitigation, we have 3 active financial packets, 3 forbearances. We have 21 partial claims and modifications pending, so that's creeping up over the last couple of months. 5 Chapter 13 bankruptcies, 8 portfolio preservation projects, 1 REO, and 2 short sales. And then we also provide just a little bit of the foreclosures initiated and in what areas in the state. They are predominantly, there's 17 in total, 4 in Billings, 3 Kalispell, 2 Great Falls, and the rest of their cities with about $2.5 million principal balance. We have 6 foreclosure sales scheduled for FHA and 5 for USDA. And I'm available for any questions, and you'll also note in the footnote here, I added decrease in FHA tier score relates to the new EDI transfer file established for the reporting and fatal errors with some data transmitted. Loss mitigation staff are working with Commerce IT and our software vendor to resolve, as well as additional training and discussions with the loss mitigation team and our quality control specialists to remedy prior fatal errors. Available for any questions.
Okay, do we have any questions regarding Charles Facility Services? I have a question and comment. First, my question, as I asked every time, we have 11 foreclosures, of which 5 are RD. Do we expect all? How many of those do we expect to move all the way? Any idea?
You know, it's really hard to say because we've seen a lot of them end up selling the property because they're listed. We really haven't had many foreclosures in the last year because purchase prices are where they're at and people tend to get their houses on the market and get them sold. I would, if I had to hazard a guess, I'd say 3 to 4.
So my second comment, more for the board. First off, staff's in perfect position in the departure area. That is, having been a servicer, not to have a chief servicer, have very different, you know, 6,000 votes. The fact that we're tier 3 now is not good because I could bring on a HUD audit. We're very tired of audits. So that's really significance of that. Your ranking, as far as I'm concerned. When you're a 1, you're gonna get audited for claims and things of that nature. From all your agencies, but when you're a 3, you might bring on a full lot. And we don't need it. So thank you very much for what you're doing. I wish you well. It is a difficult job. So particularly, I understand you don't have anything else for you. So. Okay, any other questions or comments from the board? Cheryl? Do we have any public questions or comments for Sheriff or service? Thank you very much, Joe. We'll move on to the operations and the executive director. And Joe, are you starting off?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Next board meeting, November 10th, 8:30 via Zoom. We've got one save the date for board member opportunities. That's the NCSHA LIHTC, March 9th through 11th, next year. It's in Washington. Help NCSHA educate your legislators about the impact of federal housing programs in your state and the need to expand housing resources. NCSHA is bringing to LIHTC key members of Congress and their staffs, senior federal officials, and industry leaders to get their insights on the 2026 legislative agenda, information that will help you advocate most effectively for our affordable housing priorities. Contracts and procurements, not much happening right now. It's kind of the end of the year, so it slows down. So Emphasis, which is our main software that we use for homeownership, multifamily, and servicing, that's due for to be renewed here at the end of December. So I'm working on that right now. Getting that going. Personnel, few changes here. Kylie Hughes, who was our administrative specialist, departed the board on October 3rd. She went over to the Department of Transportation for a promotion. We are not currently recruiting for that. We just hired someone yesterday that will start on November 2nd, I believe, and her name is Caitlin Torgerson. And as Cheryl pointed out, Marion Halkovich departed the board for a position with the Department of Revenue, and we are currently recruiting for her position. And then Julia Maher, or Maher, that's how you pronounce it, Julie. She goes by Julie. She joins us as the new mortgage accounting specialist under Vicky. So Vicky's got to be happy. She's got a full staff again. She had prior state accounting experience with corrections. And recently she was with us earlier this year as a temp working in the accounting division too. So she's able to hit the road running. So we're happy to have her on board. I think maybe it'll take a little less stress off of her. That is pretty much it for the ops dashboard, pretty short one for me.
Do we have any questions for Joe? Any public questions for you, Joe?
Does not appear to be, Chair, does he?
Okay, all right. The only comment I'd like to make is that for the board members who go to LIHTC, I think you should. I will say Cheryl needs no one there. She handles the entire thing herself. She can talk faster than anyone I've ever seen.
I don't know, you were very helpful in navigating, because I've never been to DC, and just getting from building to building is a whole hurdle in of itself, so.
But the importance of the board going is you're seeing, and you also get to see what the legislators think of us, the part of commerce. And sometimes that's been good, and sometimes that's not. So if you can go put that in your book, I think it's very important. Carol, on you.
So I'll take it away for the community housing team. Mid-September, we received 14 applications requesting 2.8 million in CDBG, 5.4 million in home, and 5.4 million in National Housing Trust Fund. The applications propose new construction and rehab of affordable rental homes, including permanent supportive housing, new construction of a group home and a single-family homes for sale. In addition, we received applications for home buyer assistance using home funds and for single-family rehab using CDBG. We have approximately 3.15 million available in both 2024 and 2025 CDBG funds for activities to address homelessness and rehabilitate affordable housing, including single family. We have a little over 2.7 million for home eligible activities, including home buyer assistance, and 2.8 million for housing trust fund rental properties. Staff are completing their review of applications and expect to have recommendations finalized next month. During the federal shutdown, HUD's payment system has continued to operate, so we've been able to ensure that we can disperse funds to previously awarded projects as usual. We have also signed grant agreements for our 2025 allocations of these HUD CPD funds and returned those to HUD for signature, but no definitive expectation for when these agreements will be executed by HUD. For the Homeowners Assistance Fund, we have 3,420 applications submitted for all statewide programs. They've expended 21.5 million. They're winding down bid reviews on remaining home care applications and hope to have them all in states of approved for construction by the end of next month. They're recruiting for a compliance specialist and they're preparing for an upcoming audit. For my update, as the board is aware, we did that statewide fair market rent reevaluation last year. HUD approved those increased voucher fair market rents, which improves our voucher payment standards. We reopened the wait list and started resuming voucher issuances in July. We had an opportunity to meet with Senator Daines and his staff in person in Bozeman in August. And we shared some of the concerns we had around this situation where we have 63% increase in our budget from 2024 to 2025. But we only have 6 months to spend it before HUD would take offsetting actions. The senator worked with us on a letter that he also rallied the support of our entire Montana federal delegation. And that letter was sent to Secretary Turner on October 15th. And essentially it's requesting the secretary to give states or jurisdictions like Montana that experience a substantial increase in our budget due to a successful economic evaluation to give us until December of next year to spin that down before HUD can take offsetting actions. So we were extremely pleased to get the support of our delegation on that request. We've issued about 375 vouchers since we resumed, and we have 32 new admissions, meaning successful subs that have been processed. The rental assistance dashboard is included in the packet as well. And we'll continue to provide updates, but really working to try to get people leased up as quickly as we can. Households have between 90 and 120 days to successfully lease up the voucher. So that's why you're seeing that lag time between voucher issuances and issuance. Also included in your packet is HUD's contingency plan for the federal shutdown, which appears to be going strong still. I think the main areas of exposure for us include any actions that require a human intervention at USDA-RD, particularly for a multifamily project financing, or for FHA, anything that would require a special approval of loan and slow down the process. And I believe Jessica's team was gonna reach out to our lenders to see if we're hearing of any slowdowns or concerns in originations given the state of affairs. For House Bill 924 updates, we executed that MOU with Board of Investments. We met again with Department of Revenue at the end of September to confirm our fund types, so some technical issues with how fund types are designated in the state accounting system. They're also preparing a draft MOU for our review to execute as a standalone. I already discussed Jessica's team's great work getting all of those loans assigned from the LIHTC Board of Housing. The proposed administrative rules were published on Friday, September 26th, and the public comment will run through this Friday. Public comments must be emailed to the email address listed or can be provided verbally during our public hearing, which is tomorrow at 10 a.m. And the information about that public hearing is here below. And lastly, I didn't include this on the dashboard, but I have ongoing conversations with Department of Veteran Affairs staff. They are very interested in working with us and interested developers and a potential site-based housing for senior formerly homeless veterans in particular. So we may be working more with the VA. If there's any developers that didn't leave that are still listening online, if you would be interested in being included on an email that I'll send to our contacts at the VA, they're looking for developers that would like to start talking with them now around conceptual project, location, accessibility needs, and others. And just think it's a really important population to serve, and we want to do that work in partnership with the VA as they identify the highest needs of formerly homeless veterans in Montana. What we're particularly hearing is the needs for aging veterans that have complex medical needs, close proximity to services, and with really accessible units. And with that, I'll be available for any questions.
Are there any questions for Carol? Board or comments? Are there any questions from the public? Or comments? See, no, sure. Thank you, Joe. Jessica, I have a question. Are we having any issues getting fixed? Guarantee certificates
Not that I've heard, no.
or for, and I mean VA or DA.
Not that I've heard, but
Okay.
we have the lender.
Yes,
get that
I
final
understand.
document. So no, I haven't heard any talking stuff.
Okay, because I assume Idaho needs those to fund the bond.
They do not.
Okay.
It's a fund. No, I don't think so. I think it's a final doc.
And how long do they have to do it?
I'd have to look that up. I wanna say 90 days, maybe. But it's getting those as electronic. There's no personal person needed.
And is that straight across the three government agencies?
Yes. Yeah, it's all electronic now,
So
so
that's-
there's don't have to really wait for questions. Unless for some reason they ask for a paper file and the lender has to, the whole paper file to be audited. That could delay.
They're not gonna ask for it right now, at least in the past.
Right.
Okay, that's what I thought, I just wanted to make sure. Okay. Well. Thank you all for sitting through a meeting I didn't have. Yeah, appreciate that. Nathan, I thank you, I understand you were kind of put in the spot to do something.
We had some fun today.
Just had you asked a question about having the lenders being affected by the shutdown. And I have only one lender has responded so far, but everyone else has said there's been no effect on the business as of yet.
Okay, I didn't think there would be, but I guess. Well, if there's nothing else, thank you for 2 good, or a day and a half.
Yeah,
Good,
great.
It seemed like 4, I'm sure. But
Great.
thank you very much, and we will see you on the video call on.
November 10th.
November 10th. My son's birthday. Oh. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thank everybody. And we had fun.
We are adjourned.
All right.
Sheila, thanks for handling it.
Thank you, Sheila. Thank you.
And Sheila just was down. Did you get she the Stella one?
She was.
I know, it's a